About a year ago, I figured out that if I didn't put a moratorium on talking about politics, that no one would take a break and it's all we would talk about. Our current administration and our tweeter-in-chief takes up all the oxygen in the room, and because it is just a cavalcade of chaos and every day there's a new crisis and a new challenge to our democracy, that it becomes an obsession. And the news cycle never ends, and people get caught up in it. And so one of the things that happens is when they come to church, they're in their spiritual community or with people that they trust. And so it's a time to debrief. It's a time to kind of exercise this anxiety and this angst that builds up. Well, here's the problem. Bible study ended up being about Trump. Pub night ended up being about Trump. Spiritual disciplines ended up being about Trump. In fact, the service, because we're a conversational community, Trump seeped into our church service. So it turns out that if you don't put up some parameters, if you don't build in a buffer, it's all anyone will talk about. Not because they want to, but because once it's in the room, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be taken care of. And so I have found out, and I've never wanted to do this before, I actually don't like that church is like a vacation for people from their normal life, the hustle and bustle of the everyday. I actually don't like church being a supplement. I want it to be a place where we bring all that is life and we deal with it together in community. But this thing, it's an exceptional situation, and so I had to change my approach. And what I've done is I've put a 1 hour moratorium. You're not allowed to say the T word for 1 hour. So if Bible study starts at 7, goes till about 8:15, 8:30, you're not allowed to bring up the current administration until after 8. We just need a 1 hour break. The same for spiritual disciplines. Even if you feel like, like we're saying, like, what's the Spirit doing, whatever. And it has to do with like this thing, right? No, you're not allowed to say the T word. So what has happened, this is kind of funny, is people will actually, like, they'll go to say something, they'll be like, it's like, and they'll pause, and they'll go, is it 8 o'clock yet? Because they know we have a 1 hour moratorium where we just need some siloed space or some protected area where this thing can't leak into everything. And it's actually borne a lot of fruit. By putting this limitation on and not allowing everything to be dominated by the news cycle, we've actually cultivated a little bit of breathing space, a little bit of a buffer, right? By compartmentalizing, which I never like to do, but sometimes you just have to do it. And so it's become really funny. So on Wednesday nights, we have Bible study, and invariably something, because Jesus, we're in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus is very political, and so something will come up and somebody will go, it's like, oh, and then they'll turn and look at the clock, and it's my favorite thing. I love it. It happens at prayer, it happens at pub night, and so by putting this limitation on, it's actually been a pastoral provision that I've tried to put in place, even though it goes against some of my prized principles of saying that church is not a supplement to normal life, that it's a complement to our everyday life. We live in extraordinary times, and so these are extenuating circumstances, and so emergency measures had to be put into place. So I just wanted to encourage you. If you are exhausted, if you're taxed, if your anxiety is up, if you are flustered and fatigued, as a spiritual discipline, I just want you to consider this. It might be good for you to take an hour off the current administration, the news cycle, using the T word, and just calming your spirit. Exhale the anxiety and take a big breath in. It might be really good for your soul, your spirit, your psyche, and your life in general. So if our experience is helpful to you at all, then borrow it. If not, I totally understand, but I just wanted to share with you that an hour off of this topic is doing wonders for us a couple times a week.